Hey guys, Zane Geeting from EliteFTS.com. Just answering a question today for Anthony. Anthony, basically the story here is he tried pulling a 20-pound PR and missed it, hurt his back. Anthony has a history of back problems, and he asked what he can do differently to protect his back through these, his pull, basically, what's going to stop from this happening. He's getting sick of this reoccurring problem. So when Anthony pulls, he does something that a lot of guys can get away with, and I'm just going to show you here real quick. He's actually got really good technique, but it forces him to use his back more than he probably has to. Okay, so what he does is he sets up pretty wide sumo, but he doesn't have the greatest groin flexibility, so what he does is he sits back and loads his glutes and hamstrings a lot, which is good. You know, a lot of guys are going to be able to use those muscles plus the low back muscles really good when they do this. So what it'll look like is he'll sit way back like this, grab the bar, pull his hips low, and pull the bar. The problem is when it gets heavy, and because he's not opened up super great, he's back, he gets forward and his hips are still way back here. And then he has to try and force those through. Well, obviously, if his glutes can't handle it, if his glutes are weak, it puts a ton of stress on his lower back, and he's finishing the lift with his low back. And that can do a number of things. One, it can injure you. Two, it can force you to force your back through, leave your knees unlocked when you lock out. So, what I would suggest for Anthony, and actually what I suggest for a lot of guys with their sumo pull, that I see them not do well, is to open their groin more. You might have to work on flexibility. You might have to do some, mobility drills, whatever, but it really helps a lot. You'll notice if you ever see any of my pulls from the side, I really flare hard, and it brings my hips very close to the bar. And Shane Church kind of addressed this already, but I'll go a little bit further and actually show you what you're going to try and do, excuse me for being vulgar, but it's put your nuts on the bar. Okay? So, when you get in here, even if you take that stance like Anthony does, you're going to open your groin. And you can see just the difference from this to this, how much closer I am. The other thing is, you always want to make sure, and me and Anthony have actually gone over this, that your knee and your foot are pointing the same way. So a lot of guys will get in here and they'll try and get more foot angle, but then their knee can't handle it, and so they wind up doing this number. So if you're going to have your foot out wide, you need to be able to go over your knees that wide. If you can't, then your foot needs to be positioned accordingly. So anyways, what you're going to do, you're still going to sit back, but it's not going to be as far, because your hips are going to be much closer to the bar. Now you're going to grab it, pull yourself upright, and you can see how easy it is for me to finish that. When that bar passes my knees, my hips are already right here. All I have to do is flex my glutes just a little bit and they're through. So that's what I would suggest for Anthony to do. I would suggest for everybody to try it. If you pull sumo, you're going to be able to use a lot more hip drive. You're going to be able to spread the floor more by being more open, and it's just a more powerful position in general. One other thing, if you're quad dominant, because Anthony is, you can move your stance in a little bit, and a lot of people are scared to do this, but if you look at some great sumo pullers like, Sean Frankel was pulling close to 800 at 220 before he, stopped. Ed Cohn used a very narrow sumo stance. Guys are afraid of that, but you can use a lot more quad that way. So you can bring your stance in to where you're only at the rings maybe. I'm tall, I'm 5'11", but you can use this and you can still open there, but you'll get a little bit more quad activation this way. So it makes it a very straight, efficient pull. So anyways, that's it. If you guys have more questions, shoot them to me. I'll be doing more of these video answers to the questions. You can always find them on http://www.elitefts.com. Thanks, guys.